Questions for Zach?
Zach, what's the overall kind of philosophy going into high school recruiting, knowing there's a bunch of different ways that NIL has to go, and you've got a balance of high school and transfer portal and retention, and how do you go into the high school stuff looking at it and saying, you know, these are the constraints that we have to work with, and we have to make these things our strengths and know our weaknesses?
Yeah, when we're thinking about recruiting high school as a whole, initially we really want to go after big players. We want to win the trenches through high school. So you think about this class, you know, we had 12 players signed now that I would consider in the trenches in the front seven, you know, 2 linebackers, 2 D linemen, 4 O linemen, and 2 tight ends. Typically, those are the hardest positions to acquire in the portal. Big people are hard to find in the country. So, and then as terms of strategy, just we want to sign big high school classes every year and then retain the ones that we really like as they develop.
Zach, for people who are only maybe looking at the stars next to these recruits' names, what would you tell them in terms of the evaluation side on your end that goes into recruiting these kids that maybe the average fan doesn't look at?
Yeah, I understand where the average fan comes from there. What we do as a staff consistently through the year is generally we're evaluating the guys before they're even rated based on their junior tape, and then once they play as seniors based on their senior tape. And we're always evaluating length, growth potential, explosiveness, and football character. So when we make an evaluation based on that, we let the chips fall as however they're ranked. And oftentimes, you know, if a guy flips to a certain school, they might get ranked higher. That's fine. In today's day and age in college football, with, as Coach Satt talked about, NIL and now the House case coming and salary cap and all that, there's no incentive to inflate a ranking on a player. So if they're ranked lower, we're happy.
What have you seen from your evaluation staff and that some of these guys, you're their first offers or they have very minimal offers after you get a commitment, then the SEC guys come in? Is that kind of vindicating but also frustrating at the same time?
Yeah, we're certainly frustrated. I mean, when that happens, it also shows the work that our guys are doing down there. You know, I think about Carter Wilson. I thought he's been a superstar through this whole entire deal. Kind of player after player he can dig up before the other teams find him, and another team can find him, but he is on with the next one. And as long as they fit our criteria and they want to be Bearcats, that's what we care about. We don't care about the outside noise. I think our evaluation process and our system and the people we have doing it, that's going to breed the right players and good enough players no matter what they're ranked and no matter who else is recruiting them. And then once we get them here, we really vet their character in every which way. Like, they're always being evaluated when they're on campus. And over time, that's going to lead to a group of guys that are hungry, yearning to be the best they can be. And then we're going to have a really good group of football players. And they're still meeting the size criteria we lay out in the class and the explosive traits we look for. And over time, you build a roster like that, we're going to look up and we're going to have a really good-looking football team.
Seems like a lot of players, you know, they might want to know how much, but how much does having the new building mean when it's built come summer and you can walk them through that, because that's nicer than anything that's ever been here?
Yeah, certainly that makes a huge difference. I think that helped a little bit in this class. I think that's going to help more in the future. Think about it. If I'm a recruit, you visualize where you are as you're taking a visit. And if they're not able to walk through the finished product, it's hard to visualize where you are. They know it's coming, but they want to have their feet on the ground, see it. So going forward, that's going to be even a bigger thing. But that definitely helped with these guys. I mean, I know in the media now it looks like we lost a lot of guys, right, that decommitted. We care about the ones we got. And we won a lot of battles on guys down the stretch that isn't publicized as much. And that we're really happy about. So, and like you said, the new facility and the trajectory of the program did play into that. And being in the Big 12 and all the positive things we have going certainly plays into that.
You mentioned size and athleticism traits, but only 3 guys in the class under 6 foot. How important is that, especially offensive line, defensive line? You talk about competing at the Big 12 level, like finding those body types that look like, your peers.
Yeah, I think we have the best strength coach in the country and the best strength staff in the country. Nico Palazetti does an incredible job. But your strength coach is only good enough to develop someone within their frame and what they can be. So we have to get them the frame. Not only just height, we look at wingspan, arm length, hand size, the whole nine. And if you look at our trench players, every single player has a wingspan of 4 or 5 inches or more than their height. That means they have broad shoulders and long arms, room to grow. And when you look across the field at the point of attack, that's what wins games. And I feel like we, from the beginning, wanted to achieve that, and we did.
You'll be jumping into the portal next week, so biggest couple needs there.
Yeah, Coach Sapp mentioned some of them, but receivers a big need. We need to help the pass rush, and then cover players. And we're going to attack it. We have been already, and we're going to continue to, and be as aggressive as we can be. I think we have a great strategy going into it. All the coaches and personnel staff is in alignment with what we want and exactly what we're looking for, and we'll see how the chips fall.
Do you guys feel like the transfer portal is where immediate winning can now be more impactful as opposed to the recruiting ranks? And do you put more weight into either side, or are you attacking both with the same amount of fervor?
Yeah, by nature of how long we recruit high school players, we spend more time on them. But I view them all the same. Like, we're acquiring players through any necessary means. Whether we can find a walk-on who can develop into a scholarship player down the road, it's all about acquiring players. And there's several ways to do it. Obviously, mainly high school and portal. And, we spend more time on high school, but we spend a lot of time evaluating portal guys throughout the whole year to get a sense of what the country looks like. So